doctors and YouTubers. Big Boss here. Time for another gun review, and this is of my brand new AGM MP44 or STG44. Goes by both names, and I will explain a little bit of that first. The reason why it was called originally the MP44 is because of during World War II, Hitler had little or no interest in developing new rifles. So they called it the MP44, which meant Machine Pistola 44, which meant 1944. And then eventually he had a conference with his commanders, and he asked them what do they need, and they said, a lot more of those new rifles. And Hitler said, what rifle? And then he looked at it, and he liked it so much that he christened it the assault rifle, or Sturmgewehr, which means assault rifle in German, which is why it also can go by STG-44. It fires real steel, a 7.92 millimeter Kurtz round, which is a smaller version of a standard rifle, standard 7.92, which Kurtz was for shorter. It's 30 round magazine on the real steel, and basically it was more compact than a battle rifle, safer to operate than a machine pistol, definitely more accurate, and it was, well, unfortunately it came too late in the war to save Germany. Well, actually, depending on how you look at it, fortunately it did come late in the war to where it couldn't save them, because just think, all Germans armed with this, not a good fight, because that was the envision of this weapon at first. It started off as a specialist weapon. The majority of them were sent to the Eastern Front, and because of that, the rifle greatly impressed the Russians. But don't go by appearance. They're a completely different design. They're not the same gun. They look very similar, as you can tell by the front sight, the gas tube, but no, they are two completely different weapons. Now, on to the gun review. Let me put this AK back. I got rid of my Vector Arms AK so I could get this, and as usual, I'm going to start my way back, work my way up to the flash hider. First off, the stock. This is the plastic stock version. It's actually pretty sturdy. It's not as wobbly as what I thought, as what I've heard in some reviews. To get the battery in and out, pull this pin, and then slide the stock off. And it's got a hole right there. I have a 9.6 1600 milliamp Intellect battery in here, so with a little finagling, by depending on how you position the top wire, you can fit a 9.6 in here. Now this gun, I took it apart because I knew it was going to shoot a little on the hot side, so I had it chronoed, I had it lowered. So now I've got it shooting about 350 because it was the only spring I had on hand. It's a modified version 2 gearbox. It's not a V3. First glance you might think so, but then when you notice the top portion is held on by screws of the gearbox and not a little metal plate, and also the motor grip, why you would think so, is the motor has a little encasing in it, which has it sit in the gearbox like a V3 as opposed to a V2, but you can tell right there, no way you can adjust motor height unless you take the whole gun apart. So get it where you want set and don't mess with it again. And you have your selector switch right here, safe in the center. It's semi-automatic, and then on the far right it's fully automatic. And right here you have your cocking lever. It does nothing, doesn't open the ejection port. It sounds good. One thing I want to mention is this gun does not have a fuse. So you may want to redo the wire work unless you have good trigger control. Otherwise you can burn the motor out easy if you're not careful over time. Let's turn it over to the right side and we'll look at the ejection port. Flips up to the top. You have to manually hold it and then adjust the hop up, which it's really tight for some reason. and it's hard to adjust. And it looks like it's a standard M4 style hop-up. Let me take the magazine out and we'll find out. Yeah, it's a standard M4 hop-up. Sights are traditional, your AK style. Also christened, but this was the first gun to first assault rifle really to feature these sights. These sights were pretty common on Russian weapons. I have a real steel Mosin Nagant, and it has the same type of sights. Far forward, and you line up the notch with the post. It's not as good a sight picture as what a peep sight would be. And then right here you have your magazine release button. Push it in, magazine comes out. Comes with a, so I think it's a 600 round high capacity magazine. It's a little bit different in the shape. If you look at the top, you don't see where to put the BBs in straight up because it's got feed lips, which on a real magazine are what you put the rounds in, and it helps seat the rounds into the weapon. And it's a traditional high cap. Open the latch, pour them in, wind the wheel at the bottom, or use an Allen key right there. I hate high caps, so if they don't make any mids for this gun's just going to be sitting on my wall. Plus I play mostly milsim anyway. The magazine is not that stiff on putting it in the gun, like what I've heard. Oops, they may have fixed it. And then right here you have another pin. I can't remember how to disassemble it because I didn't do it, my boss did, because we were pressed for time and I had to go to an event. Right here you have your metal handguard, as well as your barrel. Nothing too spectacular, it's just standard. And now I'm going to wind up the magazine, give you a shooting test. See if I can get this review done in one part. Trying to be thorough, but you know, some of my other reviews have been 2 and 3 parts. But a lot of people aren't watching all 3 parts, so let's see if I can get everything done in 1 or 2 parts. Semi-automatic. I'm sorry, fully automatic. Hang on, magazine has to be wound. I really do hate high caps because of this. Okay. Stupid high caps. Pretty good trigger response. So this is the AGM. I'm not a too big fan of clones, but honestly, for a good clone gun, this is not a bad gun. They shoot a little hot as soon as you get it, at least for Ohio standards. So a downgrade is probably definitely what you need as soon as you get it if you're going to use it on a regulation field. All in all, good gun. Big Boss signing out.